Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Suzette Speaks show. I'm TV host and attorney from out of Miami, Florida, Suzette Speaks. I have an interesting topic for you tonight. You guys know on the Suzette Speaks show, we like growth, we like positivity, and we like upliftment. And tonight we're going to talk about a special topic because I know many of you who watch a lot of YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook, welcome, sometimes hear an argument being made by men. And it's not all men, it's just pockets of thinkers who are encouraging men to live for themselves. And my special guest today, Ezra, the insurance broker, I'm going to ask him whether it's still important to men to leave a legacy. And we're going to define what a legacy is. Is it more important to live for yourself? Is it more important to create your own happiness? To do as much as you can in your life for yourself, by yourself, with yourself, and depart? Or is there a reason? And does he think it's still valuable for men to think about the future and what they're leaving behind? So tonight's topic, welcome, hit the like button as you come in, is going to be men protecting their legacy. Now, I again want to start from a place of, do you really want a legacy? Is that still important for men? I actually probably should start a poll in the chat. But in the meantime, before we get started and start to go deep, let's hit the like button, if you will. I have, again, Ezra, the insurance broker. I hope you will go support his channel, look him up, see what he's about. From Miami, let's go represent Miami, Florida's own. He happens to be a family man, married. And I want to talk to him about that and those decisions. I also want to talk to him about the concept of legacy, because I think in our microwave dating and living society, especially Western society, we get a lot of this tension and a lot of I don't want to even call it propaganda, because there are people that wholeheartedly believe, men don't live long, men don't have, a lot of leeway in terms of, making mistakes, people looking out for them, recovery time, etc. So it's better, instead of a man dedicating his self, his life, his mind, his assets to, for example, a family, it would just be better for him to try to live life to the fullest for himself. And in that argument, I guess I'm still kind of trying to digest where the origins of that thinking comes from. And I want to know, more so than kind of judge it, what another man, a person that deals with legacy and legacy building, what he hears from men, why and if they do perhaps want to create legacies, and how is the best way to approach that. Y'all hit the like button. It's the Suzette Speaks show. Welcome to those watching the simulcast on Facebook. I'm so excited. Let me tell you real quick, I do have a show coming up on Saturday. I will be with Nelson Counseling. Nelson Counseling will be on Saturday, and the topic of that show will be the mental health that men hide. The mental health that men hide. That's this Saturday. Next Monday, come check me out. I'll be with the one and only real estate guru, Mr. Orlando Minor. Can't wait to have Mr. Orlando Minor next Monday. Make sure as soon as I set the stream up, hit the notification bell. And then I had to reschedule. I'm so sorry. I had to reschedule Mr. Andre Hatchett. So he will be on. He was the one that had a wonderful show title, Dating as a High Value Man. Don't worry. Some of y'all, I was like, what happened? I'm like, things happen. We have to reschedule at times. So he'll be back next week. I don't know if it'll be Tuesday or Thursday. But tonight, I think, especially when it comes to legacy building, we have the right expert to talk about men's desires, this generation, and I would say I'm including boomers, I'm including millennials, I'm including Z, because I think the idea of legacy is something that I heard a lot more from probably the boomer and up. I heard that very prominently from my grandfather. I heard that very prominently, even from my dad and my uncles. When I see and interact with, men in conversations around legacy, it depends, right? I see brothers who are married, brothers who have children, thinking about and pushing towards, leaving something for them. I also have a lot of single guy friends who may not have started, a family or have any children as yet. And when they talk about legacy, it's a different tone. I'm going to definitely drop the link. We have a limited amount of time tonight, so let me get started. Before I do, get the likes up, please. I'm going to just greet a couple people in the chat real quick. Say hello to my peoples. Thank you, everybody who came over and cheered me on last night on the Gray Pill podcast. I saw you, Miss AKA Lady Doug. I don't want to leave anybody out. My speakers who were there, thank you so much for everyone who came over. It was an interesting conversation about love versus respect. I want to big up Miss RM, one of my fantastic moderators. Thank you for being here, sis. Ezra is in the chat. Big ups to Ezra, the insurance broker. Fantastic. Thank you, Valencia Rosses, for support. Thank you so much, Sandy Bila, my sister-in-law. Great to have you, darling. I saw you. Great show on Tierra Mac. I'm also tentatively scheduled to be on Boss Attorney Bree. She said we might have to reschedule tomorrow, but if not, I'll be on Boss Attorney Bree's channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, I think. But we were just going back and forth on Insta, so I may have to reschedule. Life happens, y'all. We got all kinds of obligations and things we got to deal with. So if not, Boss Attorney Bree will reschedule. Much love to the sister. Check out her channel. But tonight, like I said, it's a show for gentlemen and for and about gentlemen. And I'm coming as, again, a person who may not have all the answers and, again, may not have the same experiences as this brother may have when it comes to men talking to men. I know they speak differently and they reveal and are much more vulnerable sometimes when it comes to other men. So I don't want to make any assumptions about how men, define and describe legacy and if they want one. But I think as a woman, I want to hear what my brothers have to say. I'm really, 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 really interested in hearing, especially from you in the chat. And perhaps if I drop the link, if I have enough time to drop the link, I can get it from you directly. But the real question is, do we, especially, have men still in our community, particularly our millennials and our zennials, our Z, do we still consider it important to build a legacy? And if so, how do you define that? And most importantly, how do you protect that? Are y'all ready for a good conversation? I'm hoping so. Hit the like button. Nice to see you, Sunbreeze. I'm doing great. Tonight, I'm feeling good. Had a wonderfully productive day and then get to see all of you. I just want to say thank you to all of my subs. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for my little corner of the internet. Thank y'all. We're not big. We may not have the tens of thousands, but I'm grateful. I was thinking about that as I was putting on my makeup. I was like, you know what? So grateful for each and every one of y'all supporting on this journey. All right. So if I don't say it, I'm going to say it again. Thank you so much to all of my subs, all my speakers who are in the house, says Sunbreeze, who support all the time. And I can't thank you enough. I just from sense of gratitude came over me, y'all, before I started. So let me stop before I get too deep. My Patreon know how I be sometimes a little bit in my emotions, but that's how I'm created. So no apologies for that, but grateful. All right. Whew. All right. So good conversation. Ready? Y'all ready? Good conversations, good people. Good evening, says Quincy. Nice to see you. Hi. Oh, wonderful. Carol Carol with Candles Horizons. I'm loving the conversation. Girl, I can't wait. I'm a fly on the wall myself tonight. And I'm grateful again for all of my good company here. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to post. I got a little updo from a girl. So I have to, y'all see the post tomorrow, a little thank you post for my sponsor. Shout out to, it's called Beauty and Bliss, for hooking me up for a little, I got a evening event this Saturday. So y'all ain't ready. Patreon members, get ready. But y'all ain't ready. Going out on the town. We out here trying to get busy. Yeah. So again, looking forward to this conversation. So without further ado, hit the like button. Thank you guys for coming through. Again, tonight's subject matter is being handled by a professional. I was going to say a real professional in the insurance industry. But first, we're going to ground him. I want him, and we spoke about, talk about the foundation that you had in understanding what legacy is and how you define it, etc. So without further ado, as you hit the like button as you come in, Team Replay, what's up? Hit the like button. I welcome for the first time, yay, Mr. Ezra, the insurance broker. Good evening. Uh-oh, let me add you. Good evening.
Am I good? I'm not breaking
You
up, am
are great. No, at first we had him on, and I was like, I can't hear you, brother, but here,
I? I know.
sounding good, looking good. How are you?
Thank you. I try. This is the Suzette Speaks show, so I had to get myself lined up nice, the beard nice. You
Clean,
know,
bro.
I really
We love
appreciate
them
it. Thank
clean.
you. Thank
Let's
you.
go.
I gotta represent, we all from Miami, so we gotta represent, we gotta
Yes.
let them know,
Hey,
Miami
we
people,
how we do
to
it.
clean up
That's how
too.
I feel. When I sit down, I'm like, oh, I gotta let them know. I gotta but good to have you, sir. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting. Been
Thank
over
you.
here a few times. I seen you in the chat, super chatting and supporting and whatnot, and lending your opinion, which I really appreciate to our discussions. But tonight, sir, it's for you. You are the star of tonight's show, and I want you to guide me, even as we kind of talk about this idea of legacy. Hit the like button, y'all. And I want you to start first. You just started your channel. Congrats. First and foremost,
Yes,
congrats.
thank you. Thank you. I
Excited for you,
appreciate it.
brother. This YouTube journey is what they say, a marathon, not a sprint. So get ready.
Uh, oh
Get
yeah,
ready.
I'm ready.
So I can't wait for the wonderful information though that you were going to provide, which is super important. Before we get into all of that though, please introduce yourself to the Suzette Speaks show. Welcome.
Sure, sure. Well, welcome. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Ezra, the insurance broker down here in Miami, Florida. I want to thank Suzette Speaks for allowing me to be on this platform. I am new. I'm a new baby to this YouTube channel, this YouTube game. But I felt like I wanted to be able to come on and bring some information to you all that should be valuable. I am married, two boys, and just just a black man from Miami, so just trying to do what I can. I'm a licensed insurance agent, broker, and with life insurance and health insurance, licensed in the state of Florida, Georgia, New York, and a couple of other states as well.
Awesome. So how long have you been in the insurance game?
Since 2018, I've been a part of
Okay, so
insurance.
quite good getting there, building that portfolio, I bet, and in
Yeah.
several states. So everybody say hello to Ezra and welcome
Hey,
again.
hey.
Support his channel again. He just started posting, guys. And I asked him about that. I was like, "Are you gonna do a channel?" He's like, "Well, I actually am. Just beginning my journey." So I'm grateful again. I love because I know how hard it is to get love
Yeah,
supporting. I was about to say
yeah.
channels because it's so hard sometimes to get started. So we're going to show you love. We're going to go over. We're going to subscribe. But tell us what your channel is going to be about. I assume, but just tell us what you're going to cover on your channel.
Sure. So it's gonna be about insurance, right? Life insurance,
Shocking.
and
No,
just
just
what you say?
I said shocking. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I know,
Sorry.
right? Yeah, I got to stay on point with the name.
Stay on brand. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to be about that, and I have some other passions as well. I'm very involved in the community. I have a passion for young people, so I want to be able to spread information about legacy planning, and then also some things that going on in the community.
Wonderful. All right. So let's talk about this thing, legacy. When you hear the word legacy, what are your thoughts? What comes to mind? Again, I know your line of work, but beyond that, when you think about creating a legacy, leaving a legacy, what first comes to mind?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word legacy, a lot of people have their own definitions, but I look at it as something of value that is left behind for the next generation, and it's impactful to the next generation. There's a lot of things that could be considered legacy. It's a collection of things, right? It's not just it's intrinsic, and it's also extrinsic. So it can be children, right? As far as your legacy, raising your children, teaching them. Your teachings can be a part of your legacy. You look at community impact, your work, your profession and what you do, and the things that you were able to accomplish in your work could be a legacy. You look at Michael Jordan. When you think of his name, you think of the legacy that he made in
Huge
basketball.
legacy.
Right.
Absolutely.
MLK, you think about the civil rights movement and what he was able to leave behind. So, legacy could be your grandmother's recipes, old recipes, from
True.
Haitian descent, so, learning how to, make legume or griot, everyone,
Mhm.
people from Miami, y'all know what I'm
Yeah, shout
talking
out to my Haitian
about.
descendants. Okay, let's
Yeah,
go.
I say to all my Haitians that's out there.
Sac passe.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
So recipes. So it's a lot of different things, and finances, resources, right? To be able to do things, properties. There's a lot of things that you can be able to collect and leave behind. And not only that, it's something that's valuable for the next generation, for the advancement of the next generation.
Wow. So let me ask you about, and that's a very broad definition. I think that's what really, what should I say, covers much of what people typically think of when they think of creating and leaving a legacy. So we talked about, I think that, that work related, MJ for sure.
Yeah.
All MJs, where like there's a lot of
Yeah,
MJs
exactly
now,
right. Michael
right?
Jackson,
But
Jordan.
more so, your work speaks for you when you leave
Right,
this earth, that your work lives on, that kind of thing. And we think about the musical MJ, we think about the basketball MJ, all of those,
right,
even Michael B. J, Michael B. Jordan with his acting and whatnot.
right.
Definitely. I think. Do you think men prioritize that when it comes to work related legacies?
I believe so. I think most men, we want to work. We want, our testosterone, like we want to be able to uh, um, dominate in an area. You know, you know, growing up as kids, most guys like we have different competition and we don't even realize it, right? I had an example of, you know, think about fellas that built house with a deck of cards, right? And everyone's building a house with a deck of cards. Oh, mine's is higher, or mine's standing up longer, right? So it's always about being number one, or always advancing, or always trying to build
Competitive.
something that's gonna last. So
Yes.
yes, men, it's built in us to be able to build something that's going to last, to be able to want to have some type of legacy, to be recognized for the work that we do, so in the careers
And
that we have.
shout out to my Zoes, my Haitians in the building, Sandy with the flags. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Legacy building is key. So let me ask you. So as we think about as the work related career path legacy, let's talk about family as legacy. So you have chosen to start a family. Was there a deep yearning? Did you always know you wanted a family? Was it something that when you met your wife, you was like, "Damn, this the one," like kind of thing to start your family? How was that? And then we'll get to the legacy piece. What was your mindset when you finally found her or was ready to step into that I guess new role?
Right, and that's a good question. For me, I was raised in the church, right? So I had the different teachings of, getting married, having a family, men being the head of the household, and the responsibilities of what a man should be as the man, as the husband, as the father. So for me, I always wanted to be able to have my own family and to be able to continue the legacy that, my dad had. My I seen other men in the church, raising good families, raising kids. And I wanted to be able to do the same thing. One thing that our community, and we probably get into it later, but maybe now, we look at our community, right? It's a lot of brokenness going on, but you can always bring it back to the family,
Mm.
right?
So you're
Um,
referring to the Black community at large.
Right, right.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I mean, we could talk about the many ways of how that has come about, but
Yeah.
essentially, we look in our communities. Community is comprised of families, right? And if
Hmm.
there's broken families, there's going to be eventually broken communities, right?
Yeah.
So, men have a responsibility to be able to, you know, either start a family, build a family, try to put together their own family that will be a benefit to the community. You know, but you was
So
gonna
let
say
me
something?
push back because I see you
Yeah.
live in that example. Hallelujah. Because a lot of folks went in church and they still ain't in it with nobody.
Hey,
Hallelujah.
listen, yeah, listen, it's
Because
not perfect. It's
no,
not
I'm
perfect.
like, you must have went to a great church. Quincy said facts. My dad was a pastor, so family was big for him. Yeah, I hear you. But a lot of us grew up in church and we are not necessarily yet married or starting
Mhm.
families yet. But let me ask you, do you think that is beyond you, maybe in your friendship circle? Say for the people that you serve within your insurance business, the broader scope of, I guess, your sphere of influence. Do you see? And may I ask you, are you a millennial, a Z? Are you under 30, over 30?
I'm over 30,
Okay,
so
so
yeah,
you're with the rest of us. You're over
yeah,
in the,
yeah.
okay, so millennial. Do you see that there's still a desire for what you just spoke of?
Within my circle, yes. Within my circle, I have a lot of guys that they want to get married, they want to start families, and I know that in this society, it's a lot of, especially in Miami. Miami is different.
We
It's
are
different, because there's some people that I'm not trying to get married. I'm trying to be out here, and just do
forever.
me right, and some people have a different definition of family, right? They don't feel like they need to be married to have a family. They
Mm.
say, hey, listen, I want to start a family with you, but I don't necessarily want to marry you.
And I ain't
So
gotta
there's
live with you either. That's another.
yeah, right, right,
I'll send money, but I'm gonna still be in these streets. I'm gonna be in these streets.
right, so
Wow. Well, that's a
mhm,
Miami thing. That we'll hold off on that. We ain't going down that road just
exactly.
yet. But so within your circle are like is your network like you, professional man, or do you still have friends from the block kind of thing, all in church still, or not really? How would you describe your friend group or your circle? Where you seeing this?
Yeah, majority of my friends are married. Um,
Is it one of y'all got married and everybody else got married?
probably
Yeah,
so. I mean, we probably don't want to admit it, but that's probably what happened.
that happens to my
We are,
brother.
yeah, we're all
Yeah.
like-minded. So most of us are like-minded. So majority of us are married, have children. We have some single friends. They desire to. Some of them are, just trying to get themselves together. Or some of them are just, listen, I'm not ready for that right now, and
Mm.
it's all good. I feel like as long as you're comfortable with where you are, and you're trying to be the best that you can. I mean, not everyone should just automatically get married. There's some work that you may have to do on yourself, right?
Okay, thank you for that point because on
Oh
our
yeah.
show yesterday, shout out to the Gray Pill podcast. That shout out to I think it was Miss Raw B and can't remember all the ladies' names. Miss Betty. We were talking about what's more important in terms of in a relationship, love or respect, and I was kind of like, give me both. But one of the main points that came up during the course of the discussion was, is there a cultural difference where in our white counterparts from the
Mm.
time they are much younger, they are being conditioned, say white men, to prepare themselves to be a head of a household, to earn enough, to get their crap together, etc. And an argument was being made, and I forget by who, that unfortunately, actually, was this the after show? We stayed on the thing for like another 2 hours on the after show,
Listen,
just
that's
on
one
the
thing I
street.
learned about YouTube. You guys
Yeah,
go in. You guys go
we were
late
like,
night.
I was like, this better than the show. We should have did this part live because there were so many points made. But sometimes we reserve, we're listening, and I don't know all the ladies, and kind of, I'm the guest, I was special guest or whatever. So I was kind of more letting them kind of lead. I was like, let me hang back. I'm not a love expert, definitely not a relationship expert. But one point was being made that there is a wave of promotion among, especially on YouTube. I won't say among all, but a
Hmm.
good, healthy, subset of people are promoting that men should stay single, sow their wild oats well past their 20s, well past their 30s. Like when you wake up and you're in your 40s, then start to settle down. Is that something that you're seeing as prevalent? Or maybe within your circle it sounds like it's not because everybody married, but a little bit, kind of widening the picture. Do you see that as a hindrance to people, or a hindrance for men, specifically black men, in terms of creating a legacy? Or can you speak to that at all? I hope you're following the question. It's a long question,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say,
that's one thing that came up. They were like, well, one thing that's delaying marriage for a lot of people, especially within our black culture in America, there's starting to, or maybe has been, this promotion of, you know, sow them wild oats instead of getting married for a longer period of time. Can you speak to that?
oh, sure, I definitely can. So I think it's more of people want to get like the experience. I think because of past traumas or past situations, people could say, well, listen, don't get married young, live your life, know yourself, learn yourself, experience other women, or live with with each other to see how you guys live together, because you don't want to make a mistake, when you guys finally get married. So I see that a lot, but I think it's really, you should just learn to get to know yourself. One of the things that I found were very important for me was, doing what's called like the DISC assessment, understanding my personality trait, understanding my love language, understanding my leadership style. Like, people should take the time to get to know themselves before they get into relationships, because once you get into relationships, you'll be able, with once you get into relationships, your triggers, the traumas, the baggage that you bring in, and you'll be able to work together in the relationship. And I think that most people will say, "Hey, well, go and do your thing, and sow your wild oats, and do this and do that, and travel and whatnot." Because I feel like they look at marriage as like almost like a prison, where, hey, I can't be myself. I can't, you know, this was a mistake. They can't deal with the tough times that comes with marriage. Right? Marriage is tough. It doesn't matter how prepared you are. You're gonna
Not only
deal with,
tough, the accountability.
yeah. Oh, the accountability, big time accountability.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
not really sowing your royal oats and things of that nature. It's really just, you take the time to learn who you are, right? And take the
Yeah.
time to understand that the person that you're in a relationship with also has to take the time to know who they are, right? And give them room to grow, and let them give you room to grow. Because, I've been married for 12 years. We got married young.
Wow.
Um,
I was about to
right.
say congratulations and y'all survived. A lot of people I know got married real early, got divorced by 30. So it just depends. But shout out to you. Yeah. And
Yeah, so
SSS corrected me. It's not only black men, it's white men, Asian men, Hispanics. Get it right, Sue. Thank
that's
you.
right.
Love your opinions. Keep them coming. Keep going. Sorry.
No, that you good, you good. Yeah, so I would, if you ask my wife, is she the same person that she was when we first got married? She'll tell you
Oh,
no, right? Because we
yeah.
all grow, we all evolve. There's things that I liked that I didn't like, that I don't like now. There's things that she didn't like that she likes now. We have to take the time to really grow. We're not robots. We're not gonna be the same. So, I feel as if, it's good to get married. It's good to start a family. It's good to build this institution that, I believe in God, and the institution of marriage, and what that brings as far as the kids that you raise up in one household is very, very important when it comes to a lot of different things, especially stability and legacy building. But, everyone has the right to their opinion. I have the right to mine. That they have the right to theirs.
No, it's
But
good. Is I think to see someone who's in a healthy marriage 12 years and married young, is
right.
very encouraging because again, you don't really see. I want to ask you about these questions because you are. I don't think an anomaly, but I don't think we highlight men like you enough so that people can
Yeah.
see. Oh, it was cool. Like I want to talk to you more a little bit about your benefits of what you've enjoyed the most because again,
Mhm.
some of the ideas that are being spread only emphasize what can be wrong or the worst case scenario for people who get
Right.
married. I'm like, but I see people who's
Exactly.
happy. And it
Exactly.
hurts because it's like, again, if a young man is contemplating, or older man, whoever is contemplating this, and all they hear is like ball and chain. I see you, Quincy. Fear is the only thing holding us back mostly. Proper planning
Mhm.
and seriousness. That's what I'm saying. Preparation of self. That's what we were talking about last night in terms of the after show when we were saying that if you're prepared for it as much as you can be because I've heard a lot even watching YouTube all day today, or mostly this afternoon while I worked honestly, the idea is that you can have this perfect plan and then your life will be perfect. Absolutely not.
Nope.
Even the best laid plans can, as they say, go awry, can change, can flip on their head, and you have prepared, you have vetted, you have done your best diligence. But sometimes, you can't predict life. Life is really unpredictable and will
Exactly.
teach you lessons. So, yeah, I see this, and I'm going to ask you because you mentioned this, Ezra, as far as structure and discipline. Do you feel that marriage and raising a family has brought you structure or discipline, or what other benefits have you felt um, by being married and having kids?
Oh, that's a good question. So I would say it's a humbling experience. I would have to say, and I
What does
say that
that mean? Yes.
I say yeah, I say that because, like, once you everyone has the ideal of what marriage is going to be, And once you get into it, it's a total different, it's a monster, right? It's a monster, right? Because it's a lot of responsibility and it's a lot
Mhm.
of accountability
Yep.
that, some people are not ready for. Like those times where I was not ready for that, right? But I thank God that I had like my pastor, my friends in church, that were like-minded like me, that was able to hold me accountable, that I was able to go to for advice, you know, and they was able to come to me. We did double dates, triple dates. We did couples things, couples game nights and things of that nature, so we was able to create a community that fostered good relationships, right? And we were able to learn from each other. And there was tough times,
Yeah.
but I would say the toughest time was when we had our first child.
Oh
uh,
Lord, what was that
Pregnant.
like?
Yeah, I mean, just no, like, and at that time I lost my job,
Hold
so
on, pause. Wait, okay. And the story is about to take a turn. Let's
yeah,
go. Thank you for
yeah,
being so
so
vulnerable, Ezra. I know we came here to talk about certain things, but I'm glad because I think this is legacy for sure. Because people don't understand marriage and maybe don't have the experience that you have and never heard it. Shout out to the support in the chat. Big up SSS on the super chat. Thank you so much. Saying excellent topic live stream. We got to talk about these things, y'all, because the falling away from the concept of legacy or not even understanding how to start one is really, I think sometimes, because of distractions and other things we'll get into, on the back burner, and we need to pull this topic to the front burner. And I wish again, and I saw your comment, Sunbreeze. I understand it much more now. I understand it way more now. So we can wake people up to the concept. Let's do it. Let's think about future and what you want your future to represent, and who you want your future to impact. We always think about now. Now is easy to think about, but oftentimes we got to place ourselves, beyond what we're doing now. But realizing what we're doing now is going to affect us in 5 years, us in 10 years, our families in 10, 15, 20 years. So what you're doing now is great, but again, having that long view, right? That long sight is something we have to teach. So I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you so much, SSS. S not is only three. SSS, yes, for the super chat. Wonderful comments as well. I'll be bringing some more of your comments up. Appreciate you. And friends, giving. Thank you so much. No comment, no question, just love. I appreciate it. Also, a wonderful member of my Patreon. Thank you so much. I always love seeing you here, and you're just so generous in your support. So I'm really grateful. So before we get into some of the things that can derail a legacy before it even begins, I see a lot of new people have joined. Hit the like button, y'all. I have Ezra, the insurance broker. He's a brand new YouTuber, but been in the game, what you said, since 2018.
yep, that's right.
Selling life insurance now in multi states. Check him out. He has a business, Miami boy. Let's go, Haitian
That's
descent.
right. That's
And
right.
let's go 305 in the building. And I'm grateful again. We're just exploring the topic of men and their legacy. What can men do to protect their legacy if they want to start one? So I think the more important part of this discussion comes with what we're talking about now, which is the legacy of family, right? And what that looks like. Not everybody wants the same thing in their legacy, but I'm just talking to one man about his experience setting himself up to have an enduring legacy, right? We don't want to jump into nothing. And again, we try our best. Things sometimes do not work out, no judgment. But for you, you said the challenging parts of your legacy started right at the beginning of your marriage. Talk about that when you said, the first baby changes the game. The love in marriage,
Oh,
just you and her, I'm sure is so blissful. When that baby come, woo,
yeah,
challenge.
that's
Talk
right.
about that. Mhm.
When that baby come, it's a challenge because the baby comes. Here's the thing that men need to understand: when their wife, woman, gets pregnant, right?
Mm, mhm.
There's a living creature. There's a living
Human
being
being.
inside. I was gonna say like
You like
creature.
the creature. No, it's
Oh,
all right. I know what
there's a,
you mean.
there's a living human that is forming and developing inside of her, that is, using her bodily systems, to survive and to eventually be birthed. So she's going through a lot of mood swings. She's going through a lot of, different changes in her body, and that is something that as men we will never understand. No way, not possible. So there's a lot of understanding that we need to have and grace that we need to have with our wives, and when that baby comes, I mean, you have a human that you are responsible for 24/7. Like, there's no days off. When the baby is hungry at 2:30 in the morning, even if I remember one time I lost my job, and I was, trying to make ends meet. I worked at the hospital, at the Jackson Hospital, and I was working like graveyard shifts, so getting home late, and my wife needed help with the baby because she's trying to work as well. We're trying to make this thing happen, So imagine, getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you're going to sleep, and the baby is crying 2:30 in the morning, right? So the amount of stress that you have, and I think anyone that's getting married, anyone that's having a child, one of the best things you could have is a community that can support you. I'm
It
talking about a
sounds so.
grandmother, a
Mm,
grandfather, some brothers, a cousins, some people that can babysit, make some connection. If you are a to yourself type of person, you're not outgoing or whatnot, try to make some friends or try to get some family that you trust that can take a couple of hours. Hey, come over, and
watch the baby.
yeah, watch the
I
baby.
do
Let me
that with
take a
my brother.
yeah,
Fridays is me.
oh man, you got to make it work.
His
You got to
his
make it happen.
mother-in-law
Yes.
have Saturdays. Then we rotate. It's
Yeah,
big. It's
it's
big.
big.
I
It's
think people
yeah,
don't
it's a
think about this, and that transition is a
yes,
huge transition. Watching him
huge,
go through this, I'm like, wow.
huge
Even though
transition.
I thought, I knew what that meant, as you say, this is your legacy. This doesn't go away. This is not like, okay,
That's
I'm
it.
done. I'm tired. Goodbye. Let's go tomorrow. We'll start again tomorrow fresh. Nope. There's none of that. So you say your community is what is that a faith-based community kind of held you
Yes.
together, held you down, gave y'all some respite care, as well as probably good advice on how to handle stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. Our family, shout out to my wife's mother. She was a big help. We had our church that had like a care team, so they came with diapers, they came with food, like they came, helping out. So it was a
Y'all
great
old
support.
school, man. I love it. What? The village?
Telling
What? The
you, man, we
community?
need community.
Young. So, how old were you and your wife when you had your first child?
We got married at 25, and we had our
Hmm.
first child at 26. So
Okay,
like,
wow.
yeah,
So y'all
yes.
was young and tired. That's wonderful.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I love it. So, tell me about the children as you see them as legacy. How has it been rewarding being a dad? Past that, that initial shock phase of dang, this is a lot. Working, dealing with a woman full of hormones and changes, going from just me and you, boo, and love and booed up to allow, wow, wow, here comes the, open our hearts even wider part, as well as more responsibility, accountability, and even stress. So
Yeah.
talk about that journey as far as you looking at your kids now, from then, in terms of them being a part of that protecting of your legacy.
Yeah, so that's a great question because you know, looking at the babies, I mean, you love them, right? It's part of you. It came out of you, right? And it's someone that you just have a deep desire, a deep love for them. But I think like now, I really appreciate my boys now because they're older now. They're thinking, they can think for themselves now, and I start to see their personalities, and I want to be able to help guide them. I think as um, men need fathers as they get older. We need fathers throughout our whole life, like I mean, from birth to adulthood. But I think as men, because where do we get our advice from? Any guys that's here that's listening to this, when you look back and if you ever said to yourself, listen, man, I wish I had a guy. I wish I had a man that could have taught me this. That could have taught me about. That could teach me about women. That could teach me about how to choose my career. That can teach me about the things that women may not understand, so I feel like me, I'm able to have those conversations now with my son. How do you talk to I'm excited to talk to my boys about, about puberty, about things, about learning themselves,
Changes.
and yeah, because when you men that think about, when most of us that have, may have an absent father, or a father that was here, there, sometimes not there, you know um when you see your daughter, when you see your son, you have the opportunity to be the difference maker in their lives when someone wasn't really that way for you.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's a big piece of the legacy. Legacy is not just money, not resources.
You know,
It's advice, it's teachings, it's values. It is being able to understand how do I be a man. It's more than just tying a tie. That's cool, right?
right.
But it's more than how do I treat a woman? How should I look at women? How should I, how should I choose a wife? I mean, so
And
it's
shout out to those men who it's so difficult to break certain cycles.
yes,
And I want to lend my most deepest empathetic sentiments to men who are trying to bring this legacy, what we're talking about here, forward, even though they never got it. Shout out to
yeah,
the brothers who are trying, right? You never had your dad, right? And you don't know exactly how, you're afraid even to begin. And shout out to those who are doing it, who didn't have the playbook or the direct um, role model. I say it all the time. I know a lot of men suffer because they don't have that role model, and then when they get into situations, they don't necessarily have the what should I say, the brokenness that is now healed. They're kind of repeating and sometimes projecting those same traumas on families. But I want to shout out men who have tried their best and have worked on not, re-injuring that legacy, right? Creating a different legacy, even though they may not have had the best one. Shout out to y'all. Anyway, Ezra, when we think about the future, we definitely think about family. We definitely think about work. In your outline, you had talked about intrinsic versus extrinsic legacy. Tell me what you meant by, and we're going to go back to extrinsic, outside of oneself, intrinsic, within oneself. Can you tell me what you meant by intrinsic legacy?
okay, so intrinsic, it's things like our language, right? As simple as our language, right?
Mm.
We don't understand teaching kids how to speak. It's one of the first pieces of legacy that you build up in a child to continue on, right? We look at songs, like I said, teachings, morals, values. I was born and raised in the church, right? So, in a Haitian church, mind you, so all the Haitians that are out, there's a book that's called the Chant d'Espérance, and if you Haitian, please,
What?
uh,
Jean Esperance. I understand the
yeah,
experience at the end, Esperance in kind of
yes,
Creole.
yes, and
What's the
chant
first
is a
part mean?
song. Chant is
Oh.
a song.
Mm.
Yes, yes.
I
So,
went to a Haitian church for a while.
oh
Like,
yeah.
even though I'm not Haitian and I don't understand Creole, but I went to an English language service at a
Mm.
Haitian Baptist church, and it was one of the most wonderful experiences I've ever had
Oh,
as far as a
nice.
worship experience. Does that
Yes.
sound
Yes.
crazy? I don't know. Maybe it's Miami,
No,
but I've been
I
like,
hear it.
I want to
I
try this
hear it.
church right here. Good preacher too. Good preacher too. They did some, uh, you know, um, code switching language here and there, but
Okay,
the
Kringlish.
yes,
Call that Kringlish.
the sermon was in English, and most of the worship was in English. But some of the
Yeah.
most kind, spirit filled, and it was young, loving
Mm.
environments I've ever been in as an adult. As an adult, shout out to all the people who attended Haitian churches around Miami and getting random experiences,
That's right.
even when they're not Haitian. So hey, Sir Hale Speaks, big up BTB before the billions in the chat. Thank you so much for coming through. We're talking to Ezra, the insurance broker, new YouTuber.
Whoop,
Lots of
whoop.
salutes in the chat for you, brother. Thank you so much, Sir Hale. Appreciate the love. Go check out his channel. We're talking about men protecting their legacy. We're first defining legacy, how he views legacy, what we're leaving behind. And we're going into intrinsic versus extrinsic. We talked a little bit about, work related. I really want to even expound on that a little bit in terms of reputation.
Oh
But
yeah.
let's go back to what you were saying. So intrinsic being like your food. I'm putting that in there. Language, And
yeah,
culture.
your
Yeah,
culture,
yeah, I
right?
get
You
you.
know,
I get you.
your
Yeah,
culture, your teachings, the proverbs, the
yes,
sayings. You
absolutely.
know, oh, my grandpa used to say this, and it was a lesson attached to it, right? You know,
Yep.
so things like that is very interesting. Even I would consider reputation almost into
Mm,
your character, right? You know, oh, this
mm.
family is known for this. Oh, this family is, so your reputation, and I think when you're raising, like going back to kids, when you're raising your kids, and sometimes and you see it sometimes in like movies, there's a reputation that we need to uphold. Our last names is Smith, and Smiths, don't give up, and these types of things that are intrinsic lessons that you want the next generation to continue on. So I would say that's more of an
Yeah, so I see
intrinsic
what you're
value.
saying. So the intangibles,
Yes.
I think of, because I always say women are purveyors of food, language, culture. Super important in
Mm,
terms of our
yeah.
role in the traditional
Right.
heteronormative sense. Easy gospel piano lessons. When you gonna DM me, bruh, and we could get a show together? Anyway, it says a man's influence is important.
Mm,
The mother can only do from a female point of view. Yeah. I get my reasoning from the book, The Female Brain. Great read. Thank you so much. Shout out to the chat. Hello, hello, hello. Miss AKA Lady says, come on here. You silly. Y'all so funny. Shout out to all my speakers. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all being here. Thank you. Sandy B said, good luck. Not chance. The experience. I'm trying to work on
that's right.
my French accent. The experience. Old school, the Haitian church. Rosie, I miss you. How are you? The Haitian church was very influential in my life, she says. Thank you for being here, sis. Yes, well said. And it is, again, the community building. That is legacy too.
Yes.
Attending of faith based and purveyor. We could put religion or faith in that intrinsic. We are
Right.
Baptist, we are Methodist, we
Mhm.
are Catholic, that kind of thing.
Right.
For sure, legacy. You got people that
Legacy.
got their Catholic Bible, from the 1850s with everybody birth and death name in there. That's 100% legacy. I met
Yep.
people like that, and I'm like, that is so wonderful that you have, that experience, that your great granddaddy was a preacher.
Yes.
Your great great granddaddy
Yes.
owned land.
Mm,
100% legacy
yes.
that
Yes.
we are marveling at, but we too can create those things. So it's really
Right.
important that we kind of give that perspective. Sandy B say Haitians are very big. Hello on reputation.
And
Y'all don't
they
play.
don't
Y'all
play.
want respect. Y'all, if you don't want nothing else,
Nope.
y'all
They
want
don't
the
play.
respect. Dress
That's
nice.
right.
My Haitian brothers be going to church clean, cool,
Clean.
cool, cool, bow ties and all this, fashionista, type of thing. They come clean to church. And
That's
they
right.
want, others in the community to respect them. That's huge. I mean, I'm not speaking for you, but I agree, Sandy B. That's
Oh
what
yeah.
I've come to learn for sure. For sure. Having the respect of your community is a part of your, intrinsic legacy. So I'm enjoying the conversation. We're going to, I love this, leaving a legacy. You wrote to me, says, is being selfless because you are mindful of what your actions today may mean for those who you love in the future. Explain that for me, please, Ezra. We've been talking
Oh
about it,
yeah.
but for those just coming on, let me know what you
Yes.
meant when you wrote that, please.
Yeah. So I mean, from a man's perspective, right? Anyone really, the action that you do today, you're very mindful. How do you, how do you go about your business, right? And I'm not talking about just work, but just how do you go about your life? Is very important. When someone is legacy minded, they're thinking ahead of themselves. They're thinking beyond themselves. They're thinking, okay, me doing this, how is this going to affect my family in a positive way? How is this going to affect the next generation, right? So it is. So you make decisions based off of that, right? It's being very then it's being very selfless, and it's because you can be selfish and, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go out, and I'm not, I'll come back home, babe, at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatnot. You doing that is setting it, like me doing that. What kind of example am I setting for my boys? I decided to get married, I decided to have a family, and now I'm leaving them, for long periods of time to enjoy, what, right? It is, so I make a decision. Okay, and my wife as well. Like, I'm not just doing this by myself. She is my partner. we make sure we have family time. We make sure we have time with our, we have our date nights, family time. We have times with our boys. We want to be able to set a good example. We pray together. We do. We there's different traditions that we do together that we started building together. So that way, it is something that when I'm long and gone, I hope that they will continue after me, right? And not only that, things that you want to be able to, like saving up money or getting insurance or trying to get property and things of that nature, because one day you don't want your kids to struggle or work as hard as you did. You still want them,
Absolutely.
I still want them to work hard, but they can work hard off of the foundation that I've set, right? And that's
Absolutely.
that
And
mindset.
even what you're talking about, and if we put that still, because there are single people watching, married people watching, all of that, support his channel, y'all. Go over to Ezra, the insurance broker. He's just starting out, new brand channel, brand new channel. Come on, even though Jamaicans will say, it's our new brand
New
channel.
brand.
You know how we reverse it sometimes, but yes, show some love. Go over, support, even to help him get his subscriber count up. Even if you can't
Yeah.
tune in all the time, it's great to have the support when you're just starting out. Thank you, RM. But yeah, legacy. I'm telling you, people, women also, but we're talking about men tonight protecting their legacy. This for the streets for an extra 10 years kind of a mindset out here. We talked about body count, we talked about all that last night, but not to digress too much. That is a legacy. That is a legacy as well. Because if and when you do or are, you know, lucky enough to find somebody, hello God, to, you know, start a family with, or, make a connection for a committed relationship, in pursuit of that family, it is hard because again, that's something that you have laid in terms of the foundation of who you are for, that other person. So I think all that behavior sometimes, again, it seems very, secretive or short lived or cool, but 10 years down the road it still ends up with this type of longevity in your life and in the person that you're going to meet life, right? So thinking about those things, what you're going to leave behind, um, passing on things to the next generation. Talk a little bit about what you do in terms of life insurance. I'm going to drop the link. And if y'all have any questions for Ezra, we have about 10-15 minutes. And he's going to talk a little bit about his expertise, but I want y'all to get most of his expertise from his channel. But I want you to lay the foundation about, why people have this. I think we're behind a little bit, not a little bit, a lot in our community when it comes to life insurance. So a lot of people don't know what it is. People think it's for certain people, not us necessarily. Hey Mandrill, big up yourself. Boom, says Quincy. I subbed. Thank you, Quincy.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you going over and showing the good brother some love. How you doing? Nice to see you, Mandrill. Yeah, so talk a little bit about what you do, and I'm gonna drop the link. And anybody else who wants to come up and talk a little bit about their concept of legacy, and if men today are serious about their legacy building, and how they can improve legacy building. But go ahead, talk about what you do when it comes to life insurance.
So thank you so much. So life insurance, a lot of people have heard of it. It's a opportunity to be able to leverage um, pretty much money with an insurance company, right? So you pay a premium, usually monthly or annually, and there is a contract that if and when you pass away, that there's well, when you pass away, there's a lump sum of money that is going to be provided to your beneficiary. So if you're we're talking about families and marriage right now, so I'm just going to use the example of if you are a man, right? We're talking to men today, right? You're married, you have two kids, right? So your family of four, and let's say I'm gonna give you two options. The first option, let's say you, you and your wife both bring in income to pay for the expenses of the house, rent, everything like that, right? What happens when you pass away, right? When you pass away, and let's say the children are still young, still minors, your wife is left in a household with two kids trying to figure out how to replace your income. So, first things first, life insurance is income replacement, right? If I pass away, if I am making $50,000 a year and I pass away, now my wife lost her husband, kids lost their father, and she lost $50,000 from the income that I provided. So life insurance is an income replacement because I'm no longer there, right? So I made the decision to plan to secure life insurance that at my untimely death, that my wife, my family has the finances to continue on, right? And a lot of reasons when we talk about legacy, legacy can be destroyed based on one person's passing, right? Because it can do a lot of things. If you don't have life insurance in place, what happens to that mortgage? What happens to that car? What happens to the things that needed to be paid, right? Second option, let's say for example, I know we have like manosphere, a lot of people, they want to be able to pay all the bills, right? Okay, cool. Let's say you pay all the bills and you don't have life insurance and you pass away. What is going to happen with your wife and your kids?
Well,
How
if
is
that's the arrangement, he got to have life insurance. I'm just saying that out loud. Let's say the quiet part out loud. But go ahead.
oh
Sorry to
yeah.
interrupt.
Oh no, 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 yeah, so that just to let you know, you love your wife, you love your kids, so you have to be realistic and honest with yourself that, hey, I can go at any time, right? We see people passing away just at a blink of an eye. It could be COVID, it could be a stroke, a heart attack, it could be a terminal illness, it could be a car accident, it could be a shooting, right? You pass away untimely, and you want to make sure that you have the funds. Hey, babe, if I pass away, boom, here's $250,000, right? That's the good thing about life insurance. Life insurance is a great way to build generational wealth, because it doesn't take that much premium, right? You're securing a lump sum of money for a small monthly premium, right? So you're able to make sure that if something happens to you, hey, your family's gonna have more than enough, right? The major reason why you want to have life insurance, number one, is you want to make sure that families have the resources to take care of funeral arrangements, right? A lot of people try to use GoFundMe. A lot of people try to, pass the plate around the church, sell dinners and things of that nature, and that's cool. And that just shows the love and support that you have within your friends and family, within your circle. But it could be very, very tough and stressful when you don't have that life insurance, or you haven't planned out what's going to happen when you pass away for your family. And it could break, I have to sell the house now, or how are we going to take care? I have 5 kids, how are we going to keep the kids together, right? So it can be a huge, can of
Yeah, big,
worms when you don't have
yeah, difference maker. Absolutely. Sandy B, thank you, says life insurance can be a true legacy building tool, as long as an appropriate amount is selected. This
oh
is
yeah,
true. Y'all want to get $10,000 on your life insurance? I'm
man.
not laughing. Y'all can.
Hey,
I've
sometimes
seen it
that's
all.
that's that's
As an
that's
attorney, I've seen it all. I was like, so this is
oh
supposed
yeah.
to be for the burial, or is this for the entire family, or how is that
Mhm,
going to work? Yeah, some people don't
mhm.
believe in it, so to speak, with these large lump sums. Why do you think more than 50% of the Black community do not have it?
Oh man, number one, we're not properly educated, right? And it's sometimes, like I said, sometimes it may not be our own fault. We just don't talk about it. It is available. Sometimes we don't feel like we can trust the insurance agents that are out there, because we hear stories that
Yeah,
someone had this, oh, they did this to me. I don't trust it because I lost money, or they didn't tell me that the policy was only for this amount of time, and now, mama doesn't have it anymore. We thought she had insurance, and they lied to us. And then sometimes we just, we don't make the sacrifice in saving up or budgeting for life insurance. So it could be a plethora of different things that causes someone to not have it, but we
yeah.
don't really we don't understand the power of it. I really think that. I think we don't understand the power
That
of it.
is it. I think that's a really great point. I'm not understanding it, not understanding the power of it. Miss AKA Lady has a question. Are there benefits while the person who bought the insurance is alive?
Yes, that's a great question. So primarily, life insurance is when the person passes away, the money goes to the beneficiary, income replacement, right? Funeral arrangements, things of that nature. But there's other policies that have living benefits, right? Policies that where you can be able to, if you ever needed funds for long-term care, that it can be able to be used for long-term care. There's policies that have what's called cash value, that you can be able to leverage your 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 policy to be able to take out a loan against your policy to be able to use it for, for different things.
Borrow
Uh,
money from not the bank, basically, from your
yep.
insurance. Yeah.
Yes. There's different
Interesting.
concepts like infinity. Yeah. Be your own banker. But yes, there are policies that you can be able to utilize while you're living.
Yeah, and again, we're
Yes.
not giving any type of legal
There
advice,
you
y'all,
go. Thank you.
but y'all can call Ezra directly.
That's
He's
right.
a really in real life an insurance broker, licensed, and he gave me so many states here: Florida, Georgia, New York, Indiana, Maryland, and North Carolina. To
Yes.
sell insurance. So if you're thinking about this, and I see you, Quincy, in the chat talking about these terms. We're not going to have time today, but these terms, facts, knowing the difference between term life and that happened to a family member just now. They outlived their policy. So the
Oh.
policy expired. Well, thank God you're still alive. But when they were maybe 27, they
Hmm.
bought a 30 or 40-year policy, but they just passed 67, praise be to God, or whatever it was. And so as a result, homeowners insurance went up. I know that.
Oh.
Certain things are tied to you having this policy and
Oh
having,
yeah.
some pricing discounts and stuff. It gets really complicated. I'm not going
Yep.
to have him do all of that today. He could come back. But yes, so term real quick as a broad stroke, but again, there's a lot of different technicalities and nuance to the type of term and the type of whole life policies there are. But give us a general explanation as to what the terms term
Sure.
life and whole life insurance mean.
Sure. So I would say there is term insurance and there is permanent insurance.
Okay.
And whole life is within the umbrella of permanent insurance. So term is typically, just like the word says, is a term. You could have a 10-year, 15, 20. Typically, it's a 30-year term insurance. So that means I'm 30 years old. I have a 30-year term. So if I pass away within these next 30 years, the life insurance company is going to pay out this amount of money to my family, my beneficiary. If you lived to year 31, right? Praise God, you're alive, you're living, but you're now uncovered because that term was only for 30 years. So now you have to reapply or renew your policy. And then you have permanent insurance. Permanent insurance is typically covers you until age 100, sometimes 120, depending on how you set it up. Now, this basically ensures your death benefit coverage is with you until age 100. So, most of us pass away within age 80, 90 years of age.
99 and
Right.
a half won't
So,
do but
right.
alright.
So
Y'all
it
don't
just,
know about that. That's 80s gospel. Y'all don't know about that. Okay. So over 100, they're anticipating people going to live longer, which I love. Got
that's
people
true.
living at 100, 110, depending on how you
Yep.
eat, how much peace you have in your mind. If
Yep.
you vegetarian, they say, and other things. So I want to stop you there because I don't want people to get too deep. But permanent
Yeah.
versus term meaning, but not everybody. Don't throw away term. Some people might want to buy a term because of what
Oh,
they can
yeah.
afford.
Oh, yeah.
But people want to say whole is better. It just depends on your particular circumstance.
Yes.
So
It
you
depends.
guys, we won't say for anybody what they should buy here, but you can call
Yeah.
Ezra. A good question, Sandy B. La says, how do you determine how much life insurance is needed? How would you answer that, Ezra? I know that's also a very technical question based on the individual circumstances.
Right. So I would just go on the industry standard. Industry standard, you want to have 5 to 10 times of your annual income in life insurance. So, if you like, once again, making $50,000 a year, you want to have at least, right, a quarter a mil to half a million dollars of life insurance. Let's say, for example, you have children and your child is a minor, let's say 7, 8 years old, right? Someone and pass away, you have an income replacement that will make sure that whoever's taking care of your child has your projected annual income for the next 10 years, right? It should bring them up into adulthood. So if they're eight
Nice.
years of age okay, they'll be 18, 19 years of age, and hopefully, everything is fine. They'll be able to kind of do their own thing at that time. So that's generally
So
what it
you
is.
have different, okay, so there's an industry standard, but again, each and every person must kind of do their own individual assessment. Appreciate y'all supporting the stream. Thank you so much. I'm reading a few more questions. If the link has been dropped, if you want to come up, he'll answer a couple. I'm definitely going to have you back because I think there's so much more to
Thank
legacy. We talked about children, traditions, values, family name, teachings,
you. Hmm.
food, recipe, your work, contributions to society.
Yes.
And I think we can get even deeper, in some of these things. And again, I'm going to end by asking you one or two more questions, but let me see what else is in the chat. This is your chance, y'all. Come on up, join the stream, or you can drop it in the chat. Good question, Kimo. How are you? Good to see you. My brother says, does he recommend annuities as well? I don't know. Do you have a broker license for annuities as well?
I do.
Okay, well, go ahead. All right,
Yes.
since we got the
I mean,
expert,
I'm
go
not gonna.
ahead.
I won't talk too much into it because I haven't done enough of it. Most of my clients are life insurance, but that is usually mainly for those in the age range of 50 and above. So most of my clients are really in the 30, 40 years of age. But that is something that I have available when I see that it is a good fit
Appropriate
for
for the
them.
person. Okay, give him a ring. Yes, in this particular person's situation, I know their homeowner's insurance went up after the husband's life insurance had expired, the term life. So I don't
Wow.
know what company, etc. on either the home insurance, homeowner's insurance, or the life insurance, but I just know the term life had ended, and I think they were getting a discount. The wife told me based on them having had his life insurance, but when it expired, their rates went up. So maybe ask your homeowner's insurance if they offer any discount. Just one anecdote that I've heard. All right, y'all, make sure again go subscribe to Ezra, the insurance broker. Show some love. Good evening. Hey, facts and the uncomfortable truth with Bernard S. Peace to the chat. Just getting out of class. Okay. Mr. Student of Scholar. Okay. I see you. Ezra, I'm going to leave you with this question. And again, we can go so deep into this legacy question. Do men want legacy? What is legacy? How do they protect legacy? I encourage you to go learn about insurance from his channel, and you can also find him on Instagram and whatnot. I'll add it to the description. I didn't have time. I'll add it to the description, and I'll let y'all know Saturday I'll be on live with Nelson Counseling. We're going to be talking about, thank you, Bernard S., the mental health that men hide. The mental health that men hide. That's Saturday with Nelson Counseling. Monday, I have Orlando Minor coming in to talk, this inflation, the recession that we think is still impending, certain things we need to be doing. And then Mr. Andre Hatchett I had to reschedule him. He was supposed to be Monday, dating as a high value man. We're either going to do him next Tuesday or next Thursday. I don't know yet. And if I will be on Boss Attorney Bree tomorrow night, we are still kind of in the air with the scheduling. It'll be at 8 Eastern, and if I'm on, I'll drop the link in my community tab. But how do you know all this, y'all? That means you got to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We have busy schedules here. Things change occasionally, so mostly I'm live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday. Those are my key days. Again, I have to work late some days. I have to do other things some days. Tomorrow I'm going to actually have to go to a networking event, so that's what I'm doing. Boss Attorney Bree at 8. So we got a lot going on over here at the SuzetteSpeaks show. So hit the like button, show love to both the stream and subscribe. Why not? If you're enjoying the content, like some good conversations that help enlighten and elevate, you're in the right place. So subscribe, hit the subscribe button, please, y'all, and show some love to the channel. But as Ezra has been kind of doing the work, talking about men protecting their legacy, different aspects. If you're just joining, Team Replay, shout out to you. We were talking about, and we didn't even really get into, we started talking about contributions to society, heirlooms, businesses, properties,
Yep.
intellectual property, other resources, etc. I think we're going to have to bring you back for a part 2. But I want to ask you this question and end on this note. Why should legacy be important for men? Again, why should legacy be important for men? What would you say to that question?
Legacy is important. It should be important for men because it is one of our responsibilities to continue on life. you know, just as the human race, our ability to reproduce is part of our legacy, right? To be able to continue the human race, to continue life in this world, in this on this earth. So legacy should be important because if you consider yourself to be a man of value to this world, right? Someone you consider yourself to be special, right? You want to be able to, you can't live forever, but your legacy can, right? When you think about people like MLK, you think about, Steve Jobs, you think about, the different Michael Jordan and different names that we talked about earlier. They have a legacy that continues to live on, right? Some of them are still living, some of them are not, but their legacy will continue on forever, right? And we may not have a big of a legacy as they have, right? But we can have that within our families, right? Raising our kids, being able to instill different teachings, being able to give them resources to continue on a business that you started, right? If you have a business, if you've been working on something, and what's going to happen when you pass away? Who's going to take care of that? What is the continuation or the contingency plan for that business, for whatever you have built? Is it just going to die off and that's it, or is it going to continue on? Legacy, it's not only just children. It could just be the people that you mentor, right? The people in the neighborhood that you bring over, to play basketball, or to play games or things of that nature. You can be able to build legacy with them, with a certain community. So legacy should be important because it's our responsibility as men to pass down something that's going to be impactful to the next generation. Like I said, a lot of times we may hear, within ourselves as men, "Hey, man, I wish I had someone to do this. I wish I had someone to do this." Well, this is your chance to be able to do that for someone else.
Yo, shout out to the men again and ladies, but this is for men tonight.
Yeah.
Trying to build a legacy, even though one was maybe not left for them, or thank God, mommy or daddy or both did their best, right? But they didn't have the resources or opportunities that we have now. So I encourage you, a lot of people, especially, post, I don't know if we can say post pandemic, but throughout the pandemic, have been thinking about their purpose. And thank you, Miss AKA Lady, talking about, yeah, legacy and purpose go hand in hand. Feeling lost, feeling a sense of like, where do I belong? Is this really important? I encourage you, put that word legacy also in the mix as you think about your next steps. Help me, oh God, as I want to move forward through my life. What do you want your legacy to be? Think about the things that we've discussed tonight, and what are you doing in life to help improve the chances of you leaving the type of legacy that you want to leave. Again, both intrinsic and extrinsic, in families, in business, right? In reputation, all the ways we want people to remember us. Boy, we be hard on the, who gonna be at the one day, heaven forbid, not too soon, at my funeral. And we'll joke about those things. But this is a real deal, particularly if you have a family. I was gonna ask you real quick. So should single people get life insurance, or should they wait till they're married?
Oh, that's a great question. I believe that single people should get life insurance for a couple of reasons. Number one, you want to get life insurance when you're young and healthy, because it helps save money on premium.
Hmm.
And in the future, if you plan on having a family, you already have coverage. So if you ever get sick, and you already covered, so you don't have to worry about trying to get covered because you already have it set up. And then number two, if you pass away, who is going to be financially responsible for your funeral arrangements, right?
Hmm.
So most of the time, it might be your parents. Are they financially able to just drop, $10,000-$20,000 for a funeral?
Or your brothers and sisters and whatnot, your kids. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Was thinking, I got 10 more questions. I said I was gonna wrap up. Come on, man, stop it, stop it.
No
So I was
problem.
thinking, because I know there's a lot of single people that watch this too. So I don't want to
Right.
make it seem like, okay, when I'm married, I'll get this. Be
Oh yeah.
thinking, I know even there's some circles where people take out life insurance on babies.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's all
Oh
kinds of
yeah.
investment strategies and wealth building strategies with this. It's not
Oh
just for
yes.
old people. I just want to emphasize that our community doesn't think of it this way, but you have people who use it as a strategic like investment, like an instrument of like wealth building.
Hmm.
So I never heard of that till I started going to a couple classes. I was like, what? So you got to look at it this way. There was one more question I was going to ask you. God, it just slips me about buying it as a single person. Oh, do you have the license to sell long-term care insurance and those things too?
So the question that
Or do
I would
you sell
answer,
those type of policies?
I would, yeah, I would answer the question as no,
Okay.
but
Mm-hmm.
there is different riders on certain policies:
Mm-hmm.
terminal illness, critical illness, chronic illness, and those riders are similar to
Oh, so
what.
long-term care policy.
Right,
I'm thinking about
exactly.
getting a long-term care policy. I mean, people are living very long,
Yep,
and I'm seeing
yep,
certain people I know, same thing, church family, grew up with them, family dealing with elderly parents or parents who have, gotten sick. And thank God they've had certain long-term care insurance where they can get the
yes,
proper, like the top-notch care, not just like the you on your own and pray to Jesus care, but
right,
so stuff that they won't even sell you now, right? Some of those
right,
our parents and grandparents had some really good long-term care policies. There's something my cousin and I were discussing. We're like, yo, maybe we need to get
right.
one of these
There's some
because we're seeing
policies
it.
that can help with the funding of that.
Oh, really? See, yeah,
Yes.
I gotta call Mr. Ezra because there's so much about this insurance game that again we're covering the bare minimum, y'all. Bare minimum of how you should, really start to consider it as a part of your legacy, right?
Mhm.
And shout out to everybody. Hey, Andre, Team Replay in the building. Quincy
Hey,
adds, many jobs have life insurance on their workers. Wow, to supplement loss of employees due to unexpected death. Again, very dangerous industries, I'm sure. Yes, it would make some
mhm.
business sense. TTOO says, is the only time life insurance needed is when you are a millionaire and have estate planning in place? Mm-mm.
No.
Well, you answer, excuse me. I don't think so. Yeah,
Oh no, yeah, we talked about that. Funeral arrangements.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
So go back, watch it. I'm a single AF and I've been had life insurance. Well, good for you.
Come
Plan
on
ahead.
now.
Let's go. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, y'all. And I appreciate, hey, DL, we just wrapping up. Y'all want to ask all the questions I've been told y'all, please answer the Ezra, what we going to do? He has to go. He has a family, guys. Let's go.
Well, I
I
gotta
told you.
go.
Y'all go check out his channel. He has an Instagram as well. Same Ezra, the insurance broker. You can DM
Yes.
him there. Yeah, same thing. TTO asking some technical stuff. For example, Dave Ramsey has life insurance because his wife wants him to have it, but he is worth 60 million. Very kind of specific. I don't know if he can answer that, but thank you, TTOO. Yes, good to see you, DL. Sorry I missed you, but yeah. Oh, Walmart has insurance on there. What? Wow, I
I
didn't know
heard
that.
that.
Okay,
I'm
learning
not
stuff from the chat, y'all. The Waltons get money no matter what. That's true. That family. Anyway, y'all say thank you, Ezra. Ezra got to go. Ezra has two
I gotta
boys,
go.
and
I gotta
protecting the
go.
legacy is something he lives, right? Let's go. So once again, thank you, Ezra,
Thank
the
you.
insurance
Thank you
broker.
so much.
Go over to his channel, y'all. Brand new to YouTube. That's how I found you. You were on a bunch of other people's though
Yep.
channels as guests, but he's starting his own journey talking insurance. So even if you don't, watch constantly, support. The subs matter. Same here. If you are watching, if you are ghost watching, right? A couple of y'all. But if you like the content, let me know. Hit the sub. And again, thank you to my sponsors. Thank you so much to Friendsgiving, the top sponsor tonight, for sponsoring the show. Andre says the same thing. Shout out to everybody who has life insurance. If you don't know if you need it and you thinking about it, y'all go get it. All right, go to his channel now. I got to go. Y'all know the schedule. I'll
Thank
see you
you so
Saturday,
much.
see you Monday, see you Tuesday, and maybe tomorrow night. All right. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching and hit the like button on your way out. See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.